Salvete, discepoli. Here's a version of chapter 7 story that will include English translation. This is to make sure you understand how all the words fit together. It's imperative that you only use this the first time for your first viewing. All subsequent viewings, when you're practicing reading the Latin, practicing understanding the Latin, you must do that with the all Latin version. This will just be for your first time through. Bene, incipiamos. Pictura prima. Quintus canem in agrum ducit et patrem salutat. Quintus ducit leads canem in agrum, leads the dog into the field and greets his father. Quintus canem in agrum ducit et patrem salutat. Et aperte canem est casus accusativus, et patrem atque est casus accusativus. Quintus canem in agrum ducit et patrem salutat. Et pictura secunda, pater et filius ab agro cum cane domum redeunt. Pater et filius, father and son, domum redeunt, return home, ab agro, from the field, cum cane, with their dog, or with the dog. Aperte cane est casus ablativus, cum cane. Pictura tertia. In via Quintus multos comites videt. On the way, Quintus sees multos comites, many of his comrades, many of his companions. Illi omnes eum salutant. They all greet him. Illi omnes eum salutant. Pater, pictura quarta. Pater canem domum ducit. The father leads the dog home. Sed Quintus cum comitibus ludit. But Quintus plays cum comitibus, with his companions. Et aperte comitibus est casus ablativus, cum comitibus. Pluralis. Okay, and the story. Flavius' story, the siege of Troy. Agamemnon rex Maecenarum omnes principes Graecorum convocat. Agamemnon, king of the Mycenaeans, because it's plural, convenes, calls together, convocat, omnes principes Graecorum, all the princes of the Greeks. Of the Greeks is glossary, you don't have to worry about that. Iubet eos bellum in Troianus parare. He orders them to prepare war against the Trojans, when in military context it means against. Iubet eos bellum in Troianus parare. Frater eius Menelaus ad est. His brother Menelaus is there. Achilles erorum fortissimus venit a Thessalia. Achilles, the bravest of the heroes, which is a Greek word, comes from Thessaly. Ad est Ulixes habitica cum comitibus et multi ali. Ulysses is there, Odysseus, from Ithaca, with his comrades, et multi ali, and many others. Magnum exercitum parant, et multas naves. They prepare, parant, magnum exercitum, a great army, et multas naves, and many ships. Ab orbem Troiam navigant, et Troianos oppugnant. Ad orbem Troiam navigant, they sail to the city Troy, or we could say the city of Troy, et Troianos oppugnant, and they attack the Trojans. It's plural, Trojans, not Troy. Sed Troiani orbem fortiter defendunt, but the Trojans bravely defend their city. Remember, we add words like their, the, there even. Decem annos Greci urbem obsident, sed eam capere non possunt. The Greeks besieged the city, urbem obsident, sed eam capere non possunt, but they are not able, capere eam, to capture her, meaning to capture it, the city, because city is feminine. Tandem, Agamemnon et Achilles in rixam cadunt. At last, tandem, Agamemnon and Achilles cadunt, fall, in rixam, into a quarrel, and rixam is glossed. Achilles iratus est. We don't need to translate that. Non diutius pugnant, sed prope naves manet otiosus. He doesn't fight any longer, but he waits prope naves, near the ships, otiosus, idle. Maybe we'll say idly, I don't know. Troiani iam Graecos vincunt. The Trojans are now conquering the Greeks. Greeks is casus accusativus, so it's receiving the action. Troiani iam Graecos vincunt. The Trojans are now conquering the Greeks. Et pellunt ad naves, and they're driving them, I'm adding, ad naves, to the ship. In other words, the accusative is still in action. The Trojans now conquer the Greeks and drive the Greeks, them, to their ships. Troiani iam Graecos vincunt et pellunt ad naves. Bene. Paragraphum proximum. Agamemnon amicos ad Achilla mitit, qui eam iubent ad pugnam redire. Agamemnon sends friends ad Achilla, qui eam iubent, who order him ad pugnam redire, to return to the battle. Ili, o Achilles inquiunt, Troiani nos vincunt, et pellunt ad naves. O Achilles, they say, O Achilles, they say, the Troiani, the Trojans, nos vincunt, are conquering us, et pellunt ad naves, and are driving, again, us, ad naves. Troiani nos vincunt, et pellunt nos ad naves. In magno periculo sumus. In magno periculo sumus. We don't have to translate. Sumus, we are. We are in magno periculo, in great danger. Tu debes, the to is emphatic. We don't need the word you because it's in the verb. Tu debes, you ought, ad pugniam redire, et comites defendere. You ought to return to the battle, and to defend, you ought to defend your comrades. Tu debes ad pugniam redire, et comites defendere. Sed ille, amicos non audit, neque ab ira resistit. But he, meaning Achilles, the subject has changed, amicos non audit, doesn't hear his friends, the friends, neque ab ira desistit, nor does he desist, nor does he cease from his anger. Ira is the whole theme of the Iliad, isn't it? Mox Trojani naves oppugnant et incendunt. Soon the Trojans are attacking the ships and setting them, the ships, on fire. Notice we've seen this 3 times now. The accusative is stated once, and then it's understood with the second verb. Mox Trojani naves oppugnant et incendunt. What are they? Incendunt? The naves, of course. Patroclus, amicus carus, ad Achillem accedit. Patroclus, a dear friend, approaches to Achilles. Maybe you can just say approaches Achilles, although the Latin does say to. Et Trojani iam naves incendunt, inquit. And he says the Trojans are now burning our, adding the word our ships, he says. Debes abira desistere et amicos juvare. You ought to desist. You ought to cease. Abira, from your anger. Et amicos juvare, and to help your friends. Si pugnare non vis, if you do not want, that's glossed on the side, if you are not willing. Pugnare, to fight. I should have highlighted that. If you are not willing to fight. Debes me cum comitibus tuis in pugnam mittere. You ought. Debes me cum comitibus tuis in pugnam mittere. You ought to send me. Awesome Latin word order, huh? You ought to send me cum comitibus tuis, with your comrades, with your soldiers, in pugnam, into the battle. Let me read that again. Si tu pugnare non vis, debes me cum comitibus tuis in pugnam mittere. When you're reading the Latin, the old Latin version, tomorrow or the next day, see if you can read that in Latin and understand it as you read. Si tu pugnare non vis, debes me cum comitibus tuis in pugnam mittere. Bene. Itaque Achilles invitus Patroclum in pugnam mitit. Likewise with this one. Itaque, and so Achilles unwillingly sends Patroclus into the battle. So let me read that again, and you'll practice it until you can read it and understand it. Itaque Achilles invitus Patroclum in pugnam mitit. Itaque Achilles invitus Patroclum in pugnam mitit. Ille arma Achilles induit et comites in pugnam ducit. Ille, subject has changed, so it must be Patroclus. Ille arma Achilles induit. He puts on the arms or the armor of Achilles. Et comites in pugnam ducit. Et comites pugnam ducit, and he leads his comrades, and that must be casus accusativus. He leads his comrades into the battle. Trojani, ubi arma Achilles vident, territi sunt et ad orbem fugiunt. The Trojans, ubi arma Achilles vident, when they see the arms of Achilles, territi sunt, they are terrified, et ad orbem fugiunt, and they flee ad orbem, to their city. Patroclus in eos corrit, et multos occidit. Patroclus runs toward them, I'll say for in here, against them maybe, runs against them, runs towards them. Et multos occidit, and he kills many. Sed Hector, fortissimus Trojanorum resistit, et Patroclum impudiem vocat. Sed Hector, fortissimus Trojanorum, the bravest or the strongest of the Trojans, resists, stops. Et Patroclum impudiem vocat, and he calls Patroclus into battle. Astam iacit, he hurls his spear. Astam iacit, et Patroclum interficit, and he kills Patroclus. Okay, that's it. One more time. Listen to this one for your first viewing, and it's 17 minutes, which works out perfectly. After that, listen to the all Latin version only, please.